Daniel Crouch Rare Books is proud to present the Cline collection, the story of London told in 30,000 books, maps and prints spanning 400 years, the largest such collection in private hands. John Stowe, the author of A Survey in London, the first printed history of the city, published in 1598, summarises his ambition for the work as containing the original, antiquity, increase, modern estate and description of that city.
Attempts to confine to the page such an ever-changing and multi-layered city inevitably fail to capture the living London. While no one individual map, print or book could serve as a comprehensive representation, the Cline collection, comprising almost 30,000 items, captures every facet of the protean city. Early depictions of London blur the boundary between map and view. During the 16th and first half of the 17th century, cartographers and printmakers generally portrayed the city in 3 dimensions, with its buildings, river and population illustrated in wonderful detail. Among these was Wenceslaus Holler, a Czech artist who lived in the city from 1637 until his death in 1677. Holler's prospects, landscapes and scenes provide an indispensable source of information about the history, topography, architecture and culture of the capital. In particular, his map and prospect of London makes clear the devastating effect of the Great Fire, which completely transformed the city in 1666. A further important prospect of early modern London was the work of Johannes Kipp, another immigrant who moved to the city and soon became one of the key figures in its print trade. Kipp's engraving was the largest view of London ever to be published and eschewed the typical scene taken from South Bank in favour of an innovative perspective, showing the city from the roof of Buckingham House, now Buckingham Palace. None other than George I, with the Prince and Princess of Wales in tow, is shown crossing St James's Park. The 18th century saw a London not only rebuilt but greatly expanded in every sense. Technology was slowly beginning to advance in the run-up to the Industrial Revolution. The population was increasing at a constant rate, and the borders of the city continued to creep into the fields of the surrounding counties. Although the urban vista had already been captured by a vast range of prints, it was not until the end of the 18th century that the first true panorama of London was made. Depicting the city from the southern end of Blackfriars Bridge, Barker's original painting spanned a canvas of almost 1,500 square feet and was taken on a tour of Europe. Simultaneously, printmaker Frederick Burney produced 6 elegant aquatint prints, which, if joined, will represent the city of London and the entire surrounding country as seen from the top of the Albion Mill, as said the advertisement at the time, thereby giving the public access to an original new form of art. It was not only the lofty prospect of London, however, that printmakers felt worthy of committing to paper. The opening of a new building or bridge, such as the 1751 iteration of Westminster Bridge, often encouraged the city's publishers to produce commemorative prints of the structure. And likewise, important events were inevitably accompanied by a wave of celebratory prints, as was the case with the Frost Fair of 1814. Scenes such as Hogarth's series showing the capital streets at various times of day, Edwin Edwards' collection of inns and Benjamin Read's fabulous advertisements for his new sartorial collections also shed light on day-to-day life for London's inhabitants, both at work and at play. A constant feature of the changing face of London is its travel network. Coaching stations, memorably depicted by James Pollard, would eventually come to be replaced by the railway, which was later joined by the underground system, imaginatively represented by Macdonald Gill in 1914, before Beck's iconic tube map of 1931 won its continued monopoly. Another key communications and travel route was provided by the River Thames, which long served as the arterial pathway through the city. This contributed to its overcrowding, as shown in Joseph Schultz's view from the South Bank, and contamination, hinted at in Hayward's plan of the London sewer system, which was improved in response to the Great Stink of 1858. Some of the most beautifully illustrated works in Roger Cline's library capture the Thames' lyrical beginning and industrial ending, from its source to the sea. John Boydell and his nephew Josiah's lavish production, A History of the River Thames, made in 1794, appears in 4 separate versions in the collection. One of these has been Grangerized with more than 200 extra illustrations. Some 20 other works in the library have similarly been expanded. Probably the single most impressive event, which placed London at the centre of the British Empire and was celebrated by contemporary critics as well as within this library, must be the Great Exhibition of 1851. The brainchild of Prince Albert, the exhibition was the largest trade show ever conceived. And yet, of all the wonders of the newly industrialised world on display, the greatest exhibit was the palace itself. The collection has been compiled by Roger Cline. Roger is a true collector. A patent attorney by trade, Roger was educated at Queen's College, Oxford. His library started life as a reference collection for teaching railway history at the City Lit Adult Education College almost 50 years ago. As time went on, interest became concentrated in the London area, and the library soon became more of a London topographical library. So, out of the 30,000 or so items in the collection, which is his favourite?
A specifically London book on the antiquaries of Westminster by John Thomas Smith in 1807. This is a very nice binding, a vellum binding with a drawing of Henry VII's chapel in Westminster Abbey on the cover, but this also has a four-edge painting, and this one here has a London scene, a river scene, the Thames, with Thames barges, Westminster Abbey, of course, and Westminster Bridge, as all part of the picture, which appears again and then disappears into the gilded edges of the book. I think that is the book. It's the book I always show people when they come to look at the collection, and I think it is the one I love most.
And what is Roger's ambition for his collection?
Well, I'm very pleased to have done it. It's been really my life's work for the last 40-odd years or so, and I'm hoping it will give other people as much pleasure as I've had from collecting and sorting and looking at it, and sometimes even reading it.
Highlights of Roger's library will be exhibited at this year's Frieze Masters, and a 6-volume catalogue is available on request. The works within Roger's library serve as a chronicle to an ever-expanding city, encompassing its people, buildings, culture, geography, politics and history. They are testament to Dr. Johnson's claim that when a man is tired of London, he is tired of life.